Good evening, guys. Today we are going to discuss one important topic about Green India Mission. You see, the CAG, okay, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, it has released an important audit report, performance report, okay, performance audit. It has done a performance audit on the Green India Mission scheme, and the details we are going to study. Very, very important. What should I say? Some unacceptable information has come out of the performance audit, and the thing is, we can use it very well for our examination. Okay, it is a prestigious scheme. We know it very well. Green India Mission is a prestigious scheme, but unfortunately, the results, the performance of the scheme, if you see over the past years, decade, okay, from 2015 to 2025, the results are not at all acceptable. Okay, so you can use this data if at all there is a question in the exam, or whenever there is a question in the exam about the performance evaluation of the scheme, etc. You can use this data to answer those questions. Okay, so this is the CAG performance audit report number 4 of 2026. Okay, it has done for the entire Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Especially we are going to study the aspects that are there about the Green India Mission. Okay, GIM. Okay, remember, very, very important topic from the point of view of examination. Okay, so these are the things that briefly we are going to see: audit objectives and the scope. This performance audit. What is performance audit? You will study it in the governance. People who have PUBAD as their optional, public administration, they know it very well. What is performance audit? Different types of audits are there. About them they will study in detail, but as part of governance you will learn them. No, don't worry. Okay, the convergence and strategy we will see, performance outcomes, financial management analysis also we will see, then performance outcomes we will see briefly, then finally monitoring and transparency, how the scheme has fared with respect to all these things. Okay, financial management analysis, performance outcomes, monitoring and transparency. Okay, right. So first we will see audit objectives and the scope, for which purpose the Comptroller and the Auditor General of India has done this audit. Okay, so the audit examined the planning, implementation and monitoring of GIM scheme, Green India Mission scheme. Okay, it has done the scope of audit was across 16 states and the union territories. Okay, so the objectives, if you see, the increase, first one is increase in forest or tree cover. This has been seen. Second thing that has been seen is improve quality of forest or non-forest lands, that was seen. Third one is enhance ecosystem services like biodiversity, carbon sequestration, etc. Several ecosystem services are there from the forest. You know it very well: groundwater, clean air, etc., etc. Few things the CAG has focused on: biodiversity, carbon sequestration, etc. Then the last objective is increase forest-based household income, whether there is any increase or decrease. That is what CAG has focused on. Okay, all right. So if you see the details, the Green India Mission (GIM), it was not converged with other similar schemes like CAMPA, MGNREGS. You know very well, CAMPA. You know very well, compensatory afforestation fund for this, increasing the tree cover only. This will be CAMPA fund. You will get fund into CAMPA from the companies which to whom the forest land has been granted. So in turn they will give money so that forest can be developed somewhere else. That is the purpose of CAMPA. Okay, but unfortunately, Green India Mission is also for that purpose, right? To increase the green cover in our country, to increase the forest cover. So, but unfortunately, there is no convergence with this scheme, CAMPA, or with MGNREGS also. Why MGNREGS, or present name is G Ramji scheme, okay, VBG Ramji scheme. So it's said that to increase the forest cover, to plant the trees, saplings, etc., you can utilize the work days under MGNREGS scheme or VBG Ramji scheme. Okay, so payment will be done through the MGNREGS scheme, and that work days can be utilized for planting saplings or know, to improve the forest. Okay, but unfortunately, convergence of these two schemes is missing with the broader scheme of Green India mission. Okay, that is first problem. Second is bottom up approach was not adhered to in area identification. So what is required is bottom up approach. Okay, you might have studied elaborately in these two different approaches. Bottom up approach. Okay, so where planning and initiation will be taken at the ground level, then as you move forward, you will gather all the information, then prepare a broader plan like that. But unfortunately, bottom up approach is not followed. Means what is the approach that was followed? If at all it is followed, it is the top down approach. Okay, so you know very well, top-down approach is actually not in interest. When you want to see good administration, good results, top-down approach doesn't work. What is top-down approach? The officials who are sitting at the top, maybe in Delhi, okay, they will decide and they will simply ask the people who are there at the ground level to implement those things that have been decided. It doesn't work. We have you might have studied already in governance, etc. Everywhere you have studied, top down approach will not work. What we require, bottom up approach we require. But unfortunately, that was not done. Okay, so bottom up approach was not adhered to in area identification, where we had to increase this forest cover or trees. At least where forest development of forest is not there, at least we can focus on trees, planting trees, developing trees. In identification of that area, bottom up approach was not followed. Okay, other problem was financial hurdles. So only 6 of 68 APOs, okay, they received funds or money on time. Only 6 out of 68 APOs received money on time, and rest 62, you can say, money was not received on time. Okay, then you see budgetary shortfall, only 1149.1 crore, that is 47%, roughly 48% of the funds that were promised received. What is the actual promised amount? 2400 crore rupees promised and approved. But unfortunately, in budgets, various budgets, only 48%, roughly less than 50%, you can say, only that much money is actually allocated. So in budget, something will be promised, but unfortunately, actual allocation not sufficiently given to the respective agencies for implementing the Green India mission. Okay, so only 47.88% of the fund actually realized. Approved is 2,400 crores, but received is 11,149 crores only. Okay, then performance outcomes and monitoring, if you see, first cover quality improvement, if you see, just 91.87% shortfall is there. Okay, so you can say not even 10% of the target was received, target was realized, achieved. Okay, so the target area was 1.4 million hectares, okay, to develop forest in this area. 21.87 means roughly 92% shortfall is there. Means what? We have only achieved 8% of the target. Just 8% of the target. Very, very sad story. Okay. So shortfall is how much? Roughly 92% shortfall is there. Very, very dangerous. Not at all wanted. Okay. Then forest cover increase, forest cover increase, if you see, 97.57 shortfall is there against 1.4 million hectare. This is 8% achievement is there if you include forest plus tree cover. But trees are not forest. Okay, if you consider something as a forest, they will see canopy. Okay, how much of the surface is covered? Okay, 40% canopy, 60% canopy, 80% canopy, like that they will see. Okay, canopy cover, based on that you will declare something as forest or just a tree cover. Remember, the plantations like mango plantation, orange plantation, they are not forest, but they will be calculated, considered in the tree cover. Okay, that is the difference between tree cover and forest cover. In some studies or in calculations, the area they will take, if you have to consider something as forest, you will see land minimum requirement 1 hectare, like that. If the tree area where trees are there, if the area is less than that much, it is not considered as forest, it is just covered as tree cover. Okay, so this type of differentiation is there. If you take the entire forest cover and tree cover, that is additional improvement in these 10 years, that becomes 8% achievement. Just if you only consider forest cover and not tree cover, what is the shortfall? 97.57 shortfall is there. Means if you round up it to 98%, so how much forest cover we have achieved? Just 2% of the target. If you add tree cover also, then it will become 8% of the achievement. Very, very, very sad story. Okay, right. So when it comes to another problem, when it comes to monitoring, 14 states failed to provide public web links to study how they have performed with respect to Green India mission. So what is the concluding point here? States are not even giving the data to CAG for analysis. Okay, they are not showing enthusiasm, they are not showing interest just to give, even to just give data to CAG, unfortunately. Okay, means they have not even responded to the request of the CAG for providing the required data. That is the problem. Okay, so if you see the GIS analysis, 70% of the sampled sites are shown no noticeable changes. So whatever the samples the CAG has considered, 70% of those sample sites did not show any noticeable change. Means there is no improvement in the tree cover or forest cover. 70% of the sites. Okay, this is the sorry status affairs. Means what? Whatever the improvement is taking place, that is taking place only in few places or in few states. Okay, that is what you have to conclude. Okay, right. So that is mentioned, the data is mentioned in graph also. You can see if you include both forest and tree cover, um, only 8% of the target is achieved. If you just focus on forest cover improvement, only 2% of the target is achieved. Okay, which is not at all acceptable. Okay, so this is the information that you have to know. Only few points I tried to discuss. The intention is you can use these points when you are writing the mains examination and prove your points. Okay, show that the Green India mission or whatever the broader goal is there, that increasing the forest area, the forest in our country, protecting the biodiversity, protecting the habitat of the habitat for the wildlife, etc., etc., or fighting the climate change, okay, protecting wildlife, etc., etc. With these points you can prove that we are not performing up to the level. Okay, so this is what you have to learn from this discussion. Okay, so this is it for today. See you next time. Until then, you have a very good time.